Hello and welcome to this presentation, building mobile applications with Eclipse. This is one of the few slides I have prepared because I'm going to get right to start it with building stuff. Obviously, if you want to build a mobile application, we're gonna have to have some sort of backend. So let's start with that. Where's my Eclipse? This is JBoss Developer Studio. And let's close all of this. And I'll just start generate something with a cool project called Forge. Let's stop it. I hope it's kind of like a wizard, but what I like about it is that you can do it all in text and don't have to use GUI. But there's also a GUI part for it. You can do GUI like this. You can create stuff like that. So I go to my directory and I create a project new. Let's call it Eclipse Con. I don't care about the package really. And the location can be here. And it's going to be a WAR file. And Maven is our favorite build system. And then obviously if we want to have a backend, we have to have some sort of entity. So let's go create a JPA new entity. Call it I'm not very good at naming, so I'll just or thinking of business case, so I'll just call it contact. See, and then it goes create a persistent context, and now this is the entity. Obviously, an entity with just some ID field and a version is not really an entity, so we have to have a new field. Because this is a contact, let's call it name. Yeah, oh, that's what I did wrong. Named name. Then we don't have to fill out all the stuff. And let's do another one, age. That's a type of int. That should be enough. So now we have our entity. And it just has a name and an age, that's fine. And then we want to create a REST endpoint from that. REST. Because mobile stuff works really well with REST. So, what was it again? I have to speak. It was REST generate endpoint. From entities.
Does it have that one?
No.
It says endpoint, not endpoint.
Oh crap. That doesn't work. Huh? What did? Sorry?
So you had end without a D.
Still, if I do the rest. Ah, now it works. Great. It doesn't generate. Oh, that's so easy. Thank you, Max. That's great. I didn't know that. I always type it wrong. So JPA entities, JSON is obviously good for mobile apps. So do JSON. Don't care about the persistence unit, stuff like that. Now we have our entity, our endpoint, and it's under contacts. So that's easy. And let's go ahead and try that out. Just run that on run on server. This one, Keycloak. That's just a Wildfly configured with Keycloak already in it, but I'll run it on that. It doesn't really matter. And then we can go into the browser, and I have a little plugin called Advanced REST Client, and we can already try it out. It's called EclipseCon. EclipseCon. And I can do a get for wildfly stars. Have it a second. What's it doing? It's taking longer than normal. Is it already started? Just try it out. No. That's for the impatient. Now it's starting. It's probably the network is not so fast and it's trying to do some resolution of something. So I think it started now, and now we can try out our, So the get obviously doesn't return anything, so we now can do a simple post. So I'll do a post, I say Eclipse, post that, doesn't return any data, and now I can do a get again, and that should do something. And we get nice JSON back, an array of 1. So now we have an endpoint. Would be nice if we had some like a front end here as well. So we can generate that as well. Not really useful, but maybe for testing or for if you have really low business, you can do scaffold setup. And I like provider AnuglarJS. How many of you know AnuglarJS? Isn't it great? It's a JavaScript for Java developers. Because it has so many things that you know that you're familiar with when you're a Java developer. It's scaffold, generate, provide. So I first set it up, and now I can just scaffold the UI, and it will just use my one entity. So that's it. I don't need REST servers, I already created those. And now I've got a UI. So let's see how that what that looks like. EclipseCon. Great, it's running. And it's a scaffolded UI, so it's not really great, but it's nice enough. So I can type my name and my age, and I'm created. So that works. That's really nice. But what I wanted to show you as well is how can we protect this easily. So there's a really great project called Keycloak, and as you saw when I ran it, it was already running inside a wildfly that was called Keycloak. And did I say push? I say off. I'll just do it like this. And Keycloak, it's caching. It's redirecting. Didn't say that. And Keycloak is a project that makes it easier for you to do authentication and authorization. I just hate caches. So this is the login screen, and we can have something similar for our application. And it comes with a JavaScript, so you can easily integrate it with your application. If you're a JavaScript front end, you can easily integrate it. So let's try that. So if you want to do that, you want to have an application here in the application list. So you add an application. So ours is called EclipseCon. And you have to have redirect URLs. So I'll just say everything that's EclipseCon star. That will be my that will get redirected if you're not logged in. And then there's this very easy installation, because you need this Keycloak JSON in the root of your application, basically to register your application with Keycloak. So then there's two steps that I have to take. I just create here in source main web app, here create this new Keycloak file. New JSON file, Keycloak JSON. Right, and paste that in. And then in my index is just redirecting to app. So I can just go there. And here I'll just import the Keycloak script. Source is call host 8080 of JS Keycloak. And this is being a very, this is a JavaScript front end, so it's really easy to use this. And then I need a little script to say what I want. So I can now create a new Keycloak and then do an init on that with a JavaScript object called onload. I want you to, what do I want you to do? I want you to, I have to speak again. Something login required. Like that. And then it should already work. That's how simple it is. I can now go here, Eclipse Con, and now this should redirect me. If it was to work. Let me just copy paste in case I made an error here. I think not, but who knows? Oh, it is a little bit different. It should be the same. Basically, this is the same thing. Semantically, it's the same thing. So, let's see. Maybe it wasn't deployed right. Is it synchronized? Yeah, it is. Let's try that one more time. Oh, it did go to the redirect. So Eclipse Con, and it does redirect, but you don't see anything. Let's close this browser window and don't believe this. Let's do it here. Yeah, now it works. So it redirects you to this login screen. And this login screen, you can customize it yourself. You can make it look nice and different. But it takes a lot away for you to make this yourself. I mean, I don't know how many people I've made this 100 times, I think. Users and logins and roles and authentication. And it's easy to get it wrong, that's one. And it's easy, and if you get it wrong, you'll be the next Sony in the news saying all credit cards are now downloaded by some guy in Russia. Nothing about the Russians, but and then or Holland actually. Holland are also a couple of hackers there. But anyway, so this is open source, and this makes perfect sense for security, because everybody can look at it and everybody can argue about it if it's the most safest way to do this kind of thing. So Keycloak is something, and you see integrating it is a super easy, like a one-liner. So let's get rid of this again, but because in the end it will. That's the problem with security. It makes things harder. Just to get rid of it is easier. So now that we have a backend and we can protect it with Keycloak, now it's time to build a mobile application. So for a mobile application, I'm going to build it with Cordova. And first of all, I want to tell you a little bit of what Cordova is. So Cordova is really great if you want to start building mobile applications. It's really something I would recommend doing, because it's for multiple platforms. So you build your application in JavaScript and CSS and HTML. Those are things probably you're familiar with already. You don't need to learn new things like new languages. Or even if you do Android, you say, yeah, Android, it's Java, it's the same thing. You can build an Android application. It's not the same thing. It's a whole new paradigm you have to learn. And that makes it just harder. And the easy thing about Cordova is that it's, so like you see on this slide, you have this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It gets packaged into a native application. The application is just a web view that just displays your whole your HTML, and then you can run it from multiple devices. So there's multiple platforms that it supports, like a lot, all of them almost. And you can still use native. That's the problem. You still want to integrate with native features from your phone. You want to have camera access and stuff like that. So it has a JavaScript API to do that kind of stuff, but in the background it will still use the native features. So it will still invoke native code to do all those kinds of all those things. But for you, it's just a JavaScript API. So that's really helpful. And as it comes to be, it has JBoss Developer Studio has some great integration for that. So let's do a mobile client. It's called a hybrid mobile Cordova application project. Let's click next. Let's make a name. Call it Eclipse client. If I could type, let's leave it there. Next, and then you have to choose what platforms. Right now, it only supports Android and iOS, but that's already a lot. It's like a lot. And then here it has the wizard has the option for you to select some plugins. And there are some plugins that are made from Cordova or from Cordova project that are like the standard plugins. And there's a lot of guys that make a whole lot of plugins that you can't name it, but there are like a huge number. So here you can pick those. Here these are listed here, the ones with Org, Apache, Cordova, that are the standard ones. But we won't install any right now. And then, yeah, this should be in a special editor. Don't know where that is. So now what you can do with a Cordova app, if you have it, let's close all these. If you have a Cordova app, you can run it here on a device, but also what's really nice, you can run it with Cordova Sim, which is a simulator for Cordova. And it can simulate or emulate the default plugins that I talked about earlier. So you can already test things that are that would have otherwise be native functionality. So let's start it up and see what it looks like. So here's our basic app, and that's the basic. And here are the things you can change. So like accelerometer, events, you can, or geolocation, you can test how geolocation works. The battery status, if you want to do something special when the battery is low, for instance. Those are things that you can emulate already. So, and it also supports live reload. So that's really helpful for developing. So if I start here, not that. If I start here my live reload server, and I go to, let's say, the index. It's too bad. Can I do that? Probably I can do that. I want to show both. Now we're fiddling with Windows. Right. So it's powered by Thym, and I'm saying it's made by me. And then I save it, and it updates. So that's really helpful when you want to develop something, because you can immediately see that it doesn't work most of the time, probably. No, you can immediately see the result. So that's that. Now I want to show you something else. Let's get rid of this. Now another thing, cool thing, because this is just HTML and you're thinking, yeah, okay, Eric, that's really nice, but HTML, and it looks really like a web page. It's not really a native app. Well, There are people that are far better at doing stuff with HTML and JavaScript than we are. And they made a project called Ionic. And that has the concept of like widgets. But they're not really native widgets. They're really made in HTML and JavaScript. And they are not really geared to a specific kind of project. But they really look really nice. So I'll give you an example of what they look like. Here, for instance, this is a list view. And as you can see, they have something like reorder. So that's just that's nothing you have to program yourself. If you want to do this yourself, have some sort of reorder function so that you can drag and drop these things with touch events and then drop them and then reorder them. That's a lot of work. Or it can do swipes like this for your lists so that you can share or delete or edit things. Or you can delete things from the list. So there's a lot of options there that you don't want to program all yourself, especially handling all those touch events. And the cool thing is that we have some wizards or palettes for that. So let me get into this demo here. This is already set up to use Ionic. So we have this palette view. Where is it? With the basic. So to get into it, if you don't know what's available, you don't have to know because you can drag and drop from the palette here, and you even see like a preview of what you're about to enter. So if I say I want an icon on the first tab, then I see immediately what that looks like. So I can make a tab widget. Very easy to get started. And what else is cool? So yeah, so if we want to do a list of items, like we had the REST endpoint just now, right? So if you want to do a REST endpoint, easy thing to do is just get HTTP, my endpoint, our RESTful endpoint we created just now, and then because this is Angular, you have something like scope, which is basically the state of your application where you could put things into. And here I just get the data and then put the data inside a scope called items. Then on my HTML, I can do a list. These are like special tags. That's something that they use. That are called directives. Basically, it gets JavaScript makes divs and stuff out of this again. So here I have my ng repeat. This is a special attribute where I just iterate over all the items and get an item out for each item. And then I can say item name or an item age. These are a mustache. It's called a mustache expression. Don't know why. It's very hip in JavaScript land. Everything has this. Every template engine has this support for this. Anyway, so and like I said, you can run it on a mobile device. So I have here my kind of like an emulator, but it's really a VM with Android. So you can see what that looks like if I deploy that. Where is it? There it is. Couldn't get data. Oh yeah, I killed the server. So let's start the server again. It's really slow here. I think it's something to do with the network. Anyway, let's kill this app. By the way, this is the standard icon, but you can change that. They don't all have to look like that. What are we waiting for? Yeah, it's probably doing a DTD lookup of something. Something stupid. So, I'm so yeah, so, and like I didn't tell you, but I'm telling you now. I work for a project called AeroGear, and we have something called the Unified Push Server. Let me give you a little demonstration. Because if you want to do push, like I said before, this is what it looks. This is what it will look like if you want to do push. Because there's multiple providers and multiple platforms, and you'll have to work with all of them. If you want to send, you have to keep track of which of your users are Android users. And if you want to push something to them, you have to talk to Google, and Google will send it to the actual device, right? That's not really cool. So what we built is basically a kind of delegate, or a proxy delegate. So your backend is over there. It only talks to the unified push server. This is our server, and that will delegate it to all the networks. So you will have to deal with only one server, and it will do all the hard work for you. And also remember which devices were registered for which type. And it supports now. This is an outdated. We support now even more than just these three networks. We also Amazon and simple push still, Google Cloud, and a special one for Safari. So this is really cool. And we have a Cordova plugin that fits in that part of the picture. So you like I said before, for you it's just a JavaScript API call. You'll get registered and you're gonna send messages. Really simple. So if we have that, we could potentially finally first show you that this works. We now get data from this. Oh, it's all red. That's also not good. Unable to resolve realm. Did I still have some error gear? Oh no. Still not started apparently. So wouldn't it be nice if we had this? We have this application. You can create contacts with a RESTful endpoint. Wouldn't it be nice that all applications, all mobile clients get notified when a new contact is created? That would be cool. And how hard would that be? So I've extended this demo already a bit. I've created here. So this is our contact. This is our contact entity, right? And I just added an entity listener, JPA entity listener to it. Easy stuff. And then in this entity listener, I added this. It's last update. I don't know why it's called last update, but it doesn't matter what this method name is. It's just on post persist, so it will be executed after the contact is persisted. And then we have a JavaScript API for sending messages. So here I just say, there's a builder pattern. So here I just say, with this URL and these credentials, build me a push sender. Then build me a message, and I just say new contact created. And then I add the name in the user data, so I can send arbitrary extra data with this push notification. Then you should be careful with this, obviously, because all of this data goes to Google, Apple, third party. It's not really safe or secure. But then I can easily send that like this. Now, showing you the push server, it has this. Oh, and then I show you also that we did change the. We also use Keycloak, and we did change the. It's still not started. Or is it? Yeah, it is. So we did change the login screen. It's black now, and it has our logo on it. Why is it so slow? It's all deployed now. Ah, there it is. Okay, so here, see, you can really customize it. We changed it. I got the And this is the dashboard for the push the unified push server. You can add something like applications, so you can have multiple applications. And these applications have variants or types, network types. No, it's not true. Variants is not the same. But anyway, you have variants. And the variants have multiple, can have multiple of these. You can have multiple variants. So you can have 2 Androids, or you can have like one for free for the free application, and one for the paid version, for instance. And then, and then here you can also quickly send a notification just to try it out if it works. So in our here we send out a notification on our server. We send out a notification when the contact gets updated, and on our client we add a little bit of configuration. And this configuration you can just copy and paste out of this here. So if I have an Android, I have here. Sender API, where was it? It's a new interface. I have to check the installation destruction snippet. Here, you have to click here. So here I click on Cordova, and then I get the same snippet that I just have there. I just can copy and paste this. It's really simple, because this is just the configuration it needs. It needs the Android project ID, and it needs a variant ID and a variant secret, so your credentials basically that are generated. We can change them here as well if you think that somebody might have gotten them, or somebody is registered on your thing. And here also for the sender API, there's a Node.js server as REST. You can just do a curl to it. So, but there's also Java API. This is basically, I just copied this. I'm very lazy, so I just copied this. This is exactly the same code as you saw before. So let's first try out our if this list works, because we didn't see that it really worked. Let me see, where was this app? Hopefully, finally. Oh, of course, it doesn't work. Well, it does work, but we don't see anything because the list is empty. Let's add one. And then we can right away see that then right away we can see that the push notification gets sent. Let's create a contact. Eric. I'm 13 now. And here we get, if we start it again, which is stupid because I made it so simple. Oh, I can show you another cool thing. So on Android, you can do a nice debugging as well, even if this is this is now a mobile device, really. This is really a mobile device. So if I want to debug this, there's a nice tool from Android. You just open a Chrome browser, and you do Chrome is this the right one? Yeah, inspect. What did I do wrong? Chrome, like that. I thought that's why wasn't it complete. And then you get this little view, and you see all the web views. This is a web view, basically what I said before. And you can have inspect here. And then you get the familiar developer tools from Chrome. And you can see what was going on exactly. You can try things out. So if I do here window.location.refresh. It's a bit small, this font. Can't make it bigger though. Maybe I'll type it right. Yeah, then I refresh the browser here. So that's pretty cool. Let me try one more time to. So yeah. So like I said before, testing if this really works. This is shoot realm. Where's this other one? Testing if this unified push server really works is really easy. You just hit this button. You can also say, There's also a concept of aliases and device types and categories. So when you register, now it didn't add anything extra, but if you register, you can add stuff like device types and categories and aliases, and then you can specify to which devices you send your message to. So for instance, an alias could be like a specific email address, and then you can send your message to one specific guy. That'd be handy, but now I send it to everybody. Hey, works. So that would hopefully send a push notification, or maybe not. Wait, I have this before. Just reinstall the thing. But it did say success that it registered. I don't know. Oh. What was it called? Push client demo. You could do this obviously not from the command line, from JBoss Developer Studio as well. So yeah, just one more time that it works, then I'm fully happy. Basically, it's doing now really compiling the whole Android application and running it and then launching it. So it's pretty amazing that it does it so fast. Now let's send one more message. Send test. I always have this. Hate it when that happens. Oh, service not available. What? I guess that's bad network for you right there. Yeah, so unfortunately it doesn't work. It worked a minute ago. Yeah. Let's try one more time and then I give up. Eventually they will appear on the device, because basically when you're on a plane, these things get queued up, and when you turn on your phone again, they show up. So probably when I can get home, suddenly get all these messages. Great. I want them now. Thank you very much. Let's see what happened now. Oh, that's the old one probably, hopefully. No. It hates us. Yeah. I did just the console log of the error. Obviously you don't want to do it like that. Ooh. But yeah. So demo god's not really helping. What else wanted to say? No, I think I said it all. So if you want to build mobile applications using Cordova apps, this is a great starting point, and especially because the tooling will help you be productive really fast, like you've seen here. I built a whole RESTful endpoint and a whole app, and it almost worked. And yeah. So all of these things are open source. So if you want, you can also have a look on our GitHub pages and contribute even if you wanted to. Are there any questions? Was I so clear? I didn't type. I typed fast enough. Yeah.
The concrete scope of Thym, Eclipse Thym.
Oh, that's the Cordova tooling.
Okay, is the name of the Cordova tooling?
Yeah.
For Eclipse.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all, that's then part of JBoss Developer Studio and part of JBoss Tools. Yeah.
It's part, sorry?
Of JBoss Tools, yeah.
Okay.
Thym is also Eclipse.
It's also a clip, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point to say. Yeah. Good.
The simulator is not.
The Cordova sim is not part of it?
Cordova Sim is in JBoss Tools. In Thym, there's all the wizards and the building and stuff.
Right.
Cordova Sim is not, because we use we're depending on Ripple, which is using WebKit and JavaFX.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Goed. Was I too fast? A little bit too fast. Yeah, that's it for me then.